The Queen of Sheba.
You found it insultingly easy, didn't you? Indeed it is, from Handel's Solomon, first performed in 1749. Finally, for 5 points, listen to this excerpt from a 17th century semi-opera based on Shakespeare. I want the name of the Queen in the title of the work.
Dido.
No, it's not. It's The Fairy Queen, and it's an extract from The Fairy Queen by Henry Purcell, written in 1692 and adapted from A Midsummer Night's Dream. 110 points for St Andrews, 70 points for Birkbeck, and a starter for 10. Which painting by William Holman Hunt shows the figure of Jesus bearing a lantern on a moonlit...
St Andrew's Eve.
In the light of... in the night of light. In the... something of light. Oh, no.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid we'll have to discard that, because it's not close enough to accept. Equally, it's close enough to give any of them a very good shot again. It is, of course, the light of the world, but I'm going to have to fine you 5 points for interrupting anyway, so we'll take another starter question now. What general name is given to chemical substances secreted by an organism that elicit a behavioural response from other organisms?
St Andrew's Young.
Pheromone.
Pheromones is correct. Atone for your sins there. 3 questions on company shares for you, St Andrews. What term is used for an issue of shares in which shareholders must be offered the new shares in proportion to their holding in existing shares, normally at a discount on the current share price?
A rights issue.
A rights issue is right. What word describes the number of shares or amount of stock which a director of a company must hold in order to be appointed or to continue as such?
Any idea? A holding share or something. A holding share.
No, it's a qualification share. What is defined by the Companies Act of 1985 as an invitation offering to the public for subscription or purchase any shares or debentures of a company, which must also contain a description of aims, capital structure, and any past history of the venture?
Privatisation. Necessarily privatisation, no, is it?
Floating.
A flotation.
No, it's a prospectus. You have 120 points, St Andrews. Birkbeck, you have 70. A starter for 10. The Emerald City was the title of the first draft of which novel?
St Andrew's Clerk.
The Wizard of Oz.
It was indeed, yes. There are about 10 minutes to go. Here's a bonus question for 15 points if you can get them. They're on science, these questions. Whose law of elasticity states that the extension produced in an elastic body is proportional to the force applied to it up to the proportional limit?
Hooke's law.
Yes, Robert Hooke. With which of his contemporaries did Robert Hooke have a long-running dispute over his theory of colours?
Newton. No, later than that. Boyle. Was it Boyle?
No, it wasn't. You should have taken Newton. It was right. Newton, never one to avoid controversy, also had a bitter dispute with which German mathematician over who invented calculus?
Leibniz.
That's right. It's generally agreed Newton admitted it got it first. You have 140 points. Birkbeck have 70, and we have about 11 minutes to go. Which breed of dog, known to date back to the Han dynasty of China in the 3rd century BC?
Birkbeck Standing.
Chihuahua.
I'm afraid not. That's a South American dog, a Latin American dog, as far as I remember. You lose 5 points. I give the whole question to St Andrews. Derives its name from a 19th century English term for cargoes of food from the Orient and differs from all other breeds by having a bluish-black tongue.
St Andrew's Clerk.
Nanking.
No, it's a Chow Chow. Let's take another starter question then. Which author, whose novels include Une Vie, A Woman's Life, and Belle Amie, established a reputation?
St Andrew's Young.
Guy de Maupassant.
Guy de Maupassant is right. 5 points for each of these bonus questions. Who in 1924 was appointed director of the FBI, where he instituted rigorous methods of selecting and training personnel?
Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover is right, creator of the G-Man. Who decisively defeated President Hoover when he ran for re-election in 1932?
Franklin Roosevelt.
That's right. The Hoover Dam, constructed between 1930 and 1936, stands on which river?
The Colorado.
It does stand on the Colorado River. Birkbeck, you have 65. St Andrews, you're 100 points ahead, but we have about 10 minutes to go, so there's time to come back if you want to, Birkbeck. Here's a starter for 10. Which opera house was opened in 1966 at the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, New York City?
St Andrew's Clerk.
Metropolitan Opera.
It is the Metropolitan Opera House, the Met. St Andrews, you get 3 questions on art. London's National Gallery contains Philippe de Champagne's triple portrait of which 17th century French statesman?
Cardinal Richelieu.
Cardinal Richelieu is right. In 1635, which court painter produced a triple portrait of the British monarch Charles I?
Van Dyck.
Sir Anthony Van Dyck is right. And finally, for 5 points, 3 studies for figures at the base of a crucifixion was painted by which British artist?
Francis Bacon.
Francis Bacon.
Francis Bacon is right. It hangs in the Tate. Right, we're going to take another picture round now with Birkbeck on 65 points. St Andrews have 190. For this picture starter, you're about to see an equation. What I want to know is which figure, centered at the origin in Cartesian coordinates, is represented by this equation.
St Andrews Clark.
An ellipse.
An ellipse is right. Your bonus questions involve physical constants. In each case, what is the correct SI unit of the physical constant shown on your screen? First, for 5 points, give me the correct SI unit for the Planck constant.
Do you know? No. I think to our eternal shame we don't know.
Oh, it's joule seconds. Secondly, for 5 points, give me the correct SI unit for the Boltzmann constant.
Oh, God.
Is this more eternal shame?
Yes.
Everlasting shame. Joules per degree Kelvin or joules degrees Kelvin to the -1. Finally, for 5 points, give me the correct SI unit for the Stefan constant.
Any ideas? No.
I thought you were a theoretical physicist.
Theoretical physics. Yeah.
I see. Not so good on the practical, right? It's watts per meter squared per degree Kelvin to the power 4, or watts meters to the -2 Kelvin to the -4. Right, after all of that, let's in 6 minutes to go, 65 for Birkbeck, 200 for St Andrews. Here's a starter for 10. What number is produced when silver, ruby and golden are added together?
St Andrews Wilkes.
155.
No? Any idea, Birkbeck?
Birkbeck Rutledge.
150.
I'm afraid it's not. It's 115, of course, their wedding anniversaries. Let's take another starter for 10. What is the plural of kibbutz?
St Andrews Clark.
Kibbutzim.
Kibbutzim is right. You get three sporting puzzles for you, St Andrews, for bonus points. Starting and finishing on a double, what is the least number of darts needed to score 301?
9.
No, it is 6, and it's too short a time to explain how you get there. How many cue strokes does a snooker player make in scoring a break of 147?
15 reds, 15 blacks is 30. Then yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, black. 36.
36, you got there, yes. Theoretically, what is the minimum number of strokes a player can make to win a set at lawn tennis?
To win a set?
Yeah.
24.
No, it's 12, because if you serve 12 aces and your opponent double faults 12 times. Right, you have 215, St Andrews. Birkbeck, you have 65. There are 4.5 minutes left. You might just do it. Go on, give it a go. Also known as China clay, which natural...
St Andrews Clark.
Kaolin.
Kaolin is right. St Andrews, you get 3 questions on unfinished works of literature. Which novel remained unfinished when the writer died from a heart attack in 1940 whilst working as a Hollywood scriptwriter?
Do you know? Any idea? Any ideas?
Come on.
What's the work?
Come on.
No idea. No.
No, it's The Last Tycoon. Which biographer died in 1968 after completing the first 2 volumes of his father's biography, the work being resumed by Martin Gilbert in 1971?
Randolph Churchill.
Randolph Churchill's right. Which poem remained unfinished, although it was published in 1816, 16 years after it was written and 18 years before the poet's death?
The Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
No, you got the right poet, but it was Coleridge. He specialised in such things. The poem was, of course, Christabel. Right, 65 Birkbeck, 230 St Andrews. Starter for 10. Which African river, which rises in the Transvaal and is over 1,500 kilometres long, is sometimes known as the Crocodile River?
St Andrews Wilkes.
Zambezi.
No. Any idea, Birkbeck? Come on, you've nothing to lose by guessing it.
Birkbeck Standing.
The Congo.
No, it's the Limpopo. Right, another starter for 10. There are 3 minutes left. In the Trojan War, which Greek hero was the leader of the Myrmidons, or ant people? No idea. Let's go on to another one. It was Achilles, another starter for 10. Which Impressionist painter painted over 30 studies of the Thames during several visits to London at the turn of the century?
Birkbeck, Grant Ross.
Monet.
Monet is right. Well done. It's about 2 minutes, you might as well go for it. You've got 3 questions on deaths in myth and legend. According to one version of the legend, which youth, loved by Apollo, was killed when the jealous Zephyrus diverted a discus thrown by Apollo to hit him?
Ganymede. Ganymede.
No, it was Hyacinthus. Acis, a shepherd who was killed by his jealous rival Polyphemus, loved which sea nymph?
Galatea.
Galatea is right. What was the ultimate fate of the huntsman Actaeon, turned into a stag by Artemis after he inadvertently saw her bathing?
Torn apart by dogs.
Yeah, by his own hounds, that's right. Let's take another starter for 10. You have 80 points. Birkbeck, St Andrews have 230. There's about a minute or so to go. Which organisation, founded in London in 1961 and awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1977?
Birkbeck Biltu.
Amnesty International.
Amnesty International is right. Going to have to be terribly quick. For 5 points each, which operatic dons made their first appearances in 1867 in Paris?
No idea. Don Carlos.
Don Carlos is right, by Verdi. In 1843 in Paris.
1843. Don Juan.
Don Juan?
No, it was Don Pasquale by Donizetti, and in 1787 in Prague.
Don Giovanni.
Don Giovanni.
Of course, by Mozart. Another starter for 10 and about a minute to go. 105 and 130 for St Andrews. Published in 1994, The Hippopotamus is which actor and...
Birkbeck Standing.
Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry, right. 3 questions linked by the word oak for you. Which great actor wrote the words to the patriotic song Hearts of Oak?
Anyone?
Edmund Kean.
I wouldn't hang around.
Edmund Kean.
No, it wasn't. It was David Garrick. Which organisation was first proposed at an international conference at Dumbarton Oaks, Washington in 1944?
GATT.
No, it was the United Nations. The shepherd Gabriel Oak is a leading character in which novel by Thomas Hardy?
Far from the Madding
Far
Crowd.
from the Madding Crowd is right. You have 120 points. Birkbeck, St Andrews have 230. It's about half a minute to go. A starter for 10. The holder of which honorary title in the House of Commons has only one duty, which is...
St Andrews Clerk.
The father of the house.
The father of the House, indeed. They presides over the election of the Speaker. Your bonus question, St Andrews. According to its Latin derivation, what is the meaning of the adjective antediluvian?
Pre the flood.
Before Noah's flood. Which royal mistress said, après nous le déluge, after us the flood?
Madame de Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour is right. Who composed the setting for the Chester Miracle play Noah's Flood, first performed in 1958?
Benjamin Britten.
Right, a starter for 10. In which port? That's the end of the contest. Birkbeck have 120. St Andrews have 255. Well, bad luck, Birkbeck. You started fighting back strongly, but about 10 minutes too late. St Andrews 255 is a great score. We look forward to seeing you in the quarter-finals. I hope you'll join us then. Indeed, I hope you'll join us next time for an Oxford derby when New College play St Bennett's. Until then, it's goodbye from St Andrews.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from Birkbeck.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Le chien typique de l'Écosse, c'est quoi?
Scotty Dog. Et le Scotty Dog. Coucou, c'est nous.
In the All Alliance night, Saturday at 10 to 10, BBC Scotland on 2, with Scottish subtitles.
Hoping for waves of brainpower now on BBC Two, tonight's teams for University Challenge.
University Challenge. Asking the questions, Jeremy Paxman.
Hello and welcome to University Challenge and the second of our quarter-final matches. Just to remind you, Aberdeen have already made it through to the semi-finals. Their opponents will be the winner of tonight's contest between Trinity College, Cambridge and the University of St Andrews. Trinity won at the last gasp in the most exciting of the first round matches against Brasenose Oxford. They then beat Queen's Belfast in the second round, notching up 300 points. Let's meet them.
Hi, I'm Sean Blanchflower from Quinton in Birmingham, and I'm reading maths.
Hi, I'm Kwasi Kwarteng from London, and I'm reading classics.
And their captain?
Hi, I'm Robin Bhattacharya. I'm from Stockport, and I'm also reading maths.
Hi, I'm Eric Gray. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I read English.
Trinity are up against the University of St Andrews. St Andrews thrashed Jesus College, Cambridge in the first round and had another comfortable victory over Birkbeck College, London in the second. Let's meet them.
Hi, I'm Tim Wilkes from Sheffield, studying history.
Hello, I'm Matthew E. from Leonsea in Essex, and I'm reading English and the history of art.
And their captain?
Hello, I'm Stephen Clark from Widnes in Cheshire, and I'm reading theoretical physics.
And Chris Young from London, studying classics.
The usual rules apply. Starters for 10, bonuses for 15 points. Incorrect interruptions to starters mean a 5-point fine. The very best of luck to Trinity and to St Andrews, both playing for a place in the semi-finals. Ready on the buzzer, here's your first starter for 10. Which commoner appeared on the first stamps issued in presentation packs by the GPO on April the 23rd, 1964?
Trinity Blanchflower.
Winston Churchill.
No, any ideas, St Andrews? One of you like to buzz?
St Andrews Young.
Florence Nightingale.
No, it was William Shakespeare. It was the 400th anniversary of his birth, which was the clue, of course. Let's take another starter for 10. Whose laws state that in any electrical network, the algebraic sum of the currents...
Trinity Bhattacharya.
Kirchhoff.
Kirchhoff's law is right. Three questions on questions for your bonus. According to tradition, who asked the question, Domine quo vadis?
St. Peter. St. Peter.
St. Peter.
St. Peter is right when he was fleeing Rome, and Christ's answer caused him to turn around and go back. Which artist asked three questions in the title of his work begun in 1897 and completed in 1898, which he regarded as his finest canvas?
Gauguin.
Gauguin.
Gauguin is right. The work was, do you remember?
Where are we?
Those are pretty big questions. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? And finally, what title is given to the question which was solved by Oedipus, thus saving the Thebans?
This is riddle.
The riddle of the Sphinx.
Riddle of the Sphinx, yes. You have 25 points, Trinity. St Andrews still to get off the mark. Here's a starter for 10. Alec Dixon, who died in September 1994, founded in 1958 which organisation designed to give young people the opportunity to spend a challenging year in a developing country?
Trinity Kwarteng.
Is it the Duke of Edinburgh Award?
It wasn't.
St Andrews Clark.
VSO.
Voluntary Service Overseas is correct. Your three bonus questions are on castles. The master mason and military architect James of St George designed castles for which English king?
Edward III.
No, it was Edward I. Which of Edward I's Welsh castles was held by the Lancastrians between 1461 and 1468 during the Wars of the Roses and was the last royalist stronghold in Wales to fall during the Civil War?
Pembroke. Pembroke.
No, it was Harlech. In which castle on the Isle of Wight was Charles I imprisoned from 1647 until shortly before his execution in January 1649?
Carisbrooke.
Carisbrooke is correct. You have 15 points, St Andrews. Trinity, you have 25. Here's another starter question. What was discovered above the Urubamba River in July 1911 when by the American archaeologist Hiram Bingham?
St Andrews Clark.
The Valley of the Kings.
No. No idea, Trinity?
Trinity Gray.
Timbuktu.
No, it was wrong continent altogether. No, it was the ruins of the Inca city of Machu Picchu. Let's take another starter question. Wolf Rock Lighthouse lies to the east and Bishop Rock Lighthouse lies to the southwest of which island group?
St Andrews Clark.
The Isles of Scilly.
The Isles of Scilly is correct. You're both now on 25 points. You get three questions on literary families, St Andrews. Which Nobel laureate created the Buddenbrooks, a prosperous family of Lübeck merchants whose decline and fall was the subject of his first novel?
Decline and fall. No, we don't know.
It was Thomas Mann. Which fictional family, the creation of Johann Weiss, First appeared in print in 1812.
The Swiss Family Robinson.
That's right. Which Nobel laureate created the Joad family, whose journey from the Oklahoma Dust Bowl to California was the subject of a highly acclaimed classic film?
Steinbeck.
Steinbeck, the film was The Grapes of Wrath, and so was the book, of course. Right, you have 35 points, St Andrews. Trinity, you have 25. Another starter question. Employees of which government agency, established as part of the Board of Trade in 1854 and now a part of the Ministry of Defence, can be seen on television every...
St Andrews Clerk.
The Meteorological Office.
That's right. That's right. The weather forecasters work for the Ministry of Defence. 3 questions on MPs for your bonuses. What name is shared by the MP who represented Stretford, Manchester from 1970 to 83 and continued to do so when its name was changed to Davyhulme, and his distinguished grandfather?
Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill is right. Which member of the Cabinet is the son and grandson of MPs, his father being MP for Newbury and his grandfather for Devizes? He was in the diplomatic service from 1952 to 66, and his government posts have included Secretary of State for Northern Ireland from 1984 to 85 and Home Secretary from 85 to 89.
85 to 89. Douglas Hurd. Douglas Hurd.
Douglas Hurd is right. Henry Bellingham, who was first elected as MP for Norfolk North West in 1983, is a distant relative of John Bellingham, a bankrupt Liverpool broker. Whom did John Bellingham assassinate on May the 11th, 1812?
Spencer Perceval.
Spencer Perceval, the Prime Minister, yes. You have 60 points, St Andrews. Trinity, you have 25, but it's terribly early in the contest still. A starter for 10. In swimming, how many strokes are used in a medley relay?
Trinity Blanchflower.
4.
4 is right. Here are your bonus questions, Trinity. Which French mathematician gives his name to a probability distribution that is fundamental in the analysis of problems such as in radioactivity and traffic?
Poisson.
Poisson is right. Simeon Denis Poisson. What name is given to the square root of the variance of a statistical distribution, usually denoted by the Greek letter sigma, which is a measure of the spread of the distribution?
The standard deviation.
Standard deviation is right. What is the standard deviation of a Poisson distribution whose mean value is n?
It's the same, isn't it?
N. Is it,
It's the same.
Oh, yeah.
N.
No, it's not. It's root n. Never mind, you've come up to 45 points. St Andrews are on 60 points. We're going to take a picture round now. You're about to see a detail of a piece of art. I'd like you to give me the name of the artist.
Trinity Gray.
Turner.
It is indeed Turner. Let's have